We are stepping directly into what is, without a doubt, one of the most emotionally charged opening scenes in Spider-Man's entire cinematic history. We're going to take our time here. I want us to really absorb the atmosphere, the subtle visual cues, and just the immense psychological weight resting on Peter Parker's shoulders right now. We are going to reconstruct this sequence shot by shot, note by note, to truly understand the lonely, unforgiving world our hero is waking up to. So let's just settle in, focus in on what's happening, and pull back the curtain on this incredibly immersive opening sequence. We fade in on the exact same cramped, dingy apartment from the final moments of No Way Home. But notice the specific time frame here. 9 months later. This is a genuinely crucial detail that instantly reshapes our expectations. I mean, for a long time, the assumption was that we might be jumping 4 or 5 years into the future, but 9 months? That places us right in the raw, aching aftermath of his sacrifice. The wounds haven't healed at all. They've barely scabbed over. He has just survived his very first winter entirely alone. This specific time jump grounds us in a reality where the trauma of losing literally everyone he ever loved is still a fresh, daily, agonizing reality for him. And right away, we see the immediate physical toll of that reality. Let me paint the picture for you. The scene opens with Peter sitting totally isolated at his desk. He isn't working with million-dollar Stark tech anymore. He is painstakingly loading his own custom-designed web cartridges by hand. Suddenly, as he works, he gets hit by a small, sharp headache. I really want you to think about that. This isn't a spider sense tingling because of imminent physical danger. It's a physical manifestation of his absolute solitude. Living completely alone in the shadows is actually breaking him down neurologically. He shakes it off, kind of hoping it's nothing, but we know it's not nothing. It's the sheer crushing weight of isolation beginning to manifest physically. Now look at the equipment scattered around his apartment. He is using a makeshift fabricator. This isn't some sleek, glowing holographic interface like we're used to seeing him use. It is a homemade 3D printer, cobbled together from scavenged, probably broken parts. It's a machine built by a kid genius who has absolutely zero funds, zero backing, and frankly, zero resources. It shows us that Peter is literally scraping by. Out of sheer necessity, he is engineering his own survival from scratch. Every single piece of gear, every web shooter, it's a testament to his sheer grit and absolute lack of a safety net. But amidst this really gritty DIY aesthetic, we get an interaction that kind of raises some eyebrows. Peter speaks out loud to a new AI assistant named Eve. He asks her to check the calibration on a targeting matrix because it doesn't feel zeroed in. Now, I know what you're thinking, because this raises an immediate, glaring question. Are we reverting? Is Peter just going to be Iron Man Jr. again, relying on some advanced AI and billionaire-level supersuits talking in his ear during every single fight? It's a completely valid concern, given his cinematic history up to this point. But let's unpack what is actually happening in this room. The crucial point to understand here is that Eve is not what we think she is. Let me completely debunk that fear right now. Eve is definitely not a high-tech suit AI that's going to be guiding him through battles or overriding security protocols. Instead, Eve is just a localized, incredibly crude homemade apartment program. She exists strictly on the hardware sitting on that messy desk. And you know what? Her primary function isn't even really to check targeting calibrations. Her real function is far more tragic. Peter built her to fill the agonizing, suffocating silence of his tiny room. It's a creative, heartbreaking way to give a completely isolated teenager an excuse to use his vocal cords so he simply doesn't lose his mind in the quiet. I want to slow down right here just to let the heartbreak of this detail really sink in. Eve is, sadly, the closest thing Peter has to a friend. Think about the sheer tragedy of that for a second. Peter Parker lives in the middle of New York City, right? A sprawling metropolis surrounded by millions and millions of people. Yet he is so entirely disconnected, so utterly erased from the world, that a crude homemade computer program that only understands basic calibrations is his literal only companion. It's a stark, brutal acknowledgement of the severe emotional deficit Peter is operating under right now. Which leads us directly into how he presents himself to the outside world. Looking at his suit, the message is loud and clear. No more Stark gadgets, period. This is a deliberate, deeply character-driven choice. All of the inherited, overpowered technology we've seen in the past, the nanotech, the instant kill modes, the fancy holographic displays, it is all stripped away entirely. This represents a complete, total severing of the safety net Tony Stark provided. Peter is now entirely reliant on his own intellect, his own hands, and his own sheer willpower. And we really get to see what that looks like in practice.
Notice the real fabric seams and the wrinkles on the suit. I absolutely love this detail. We can almost feel the tactile, gritty reality of his new suit. It isn't going to look like some CGI marvel of perfectly smooth liquid metal. It's going to look like spandex and thread stitched together by a tired kid in a dark room. His absolute isolation has forced him entirely back to his DIY roots. So every single time we see a seam stretching or the fabric wrinkling as he moves, it's going to serve as a visual reminder of his fierce independence, but also his poverty. But here's the thing, the suit isn't just about utility, it carries immense emotional weight. The design and those vibrant, classic colors are directly inspired by the multiversal variants he met, the older Peter Parkers. This is such a beautiful, subtle touch. Even though he is swinging entirely solo, completely forgotten by his own universe, he affectionately honors the brothers he fought alongside. He literally weaves their legacy into his own fabric. It's a quiet, personal way of reminding himself that he isn't entirely crazy, that those insane multiversal events actually happened, and that there were others out there who truly understand the immense burden of the mask. Now, I want you to really lean in because we are entering the absolute emotional climax of this opening scene. As Peter sits in his apartment, we seamlessly transition into a voiceover. It's a draft of a letter, specifically the letter he has been trying to write to MJ, the letter he promised he would deliver, but never did. Let's slow our pacing down to a crawl here, because we need to really absorb the devastating weight of the words he is putting to paper, words he is absolutely terrified to actually speak aloud to her. Let's look at exactly how he begins. Hi, my name is Peter Parker, and you don't remember me. Man, imagine the immense, suffocating pain of having to write those words to the love of your life. He has to formally, politely reintroduce himself to the woman who knows his soul better than anyone else in existence. It's a staggering opening line that immediately establishes the massive, seemingly insurmountable wall the spell has placed between them. He is now just a total stranger to the center of his universe. He continues, saying he knows she'll believe him because she is very good at telling when he's lying. This is so deeply layered. Peter is desperately leaning on MJ's innate intuition. He knows the magic completely wiped her memories, but he is praying, hoping against all hope, that her gut instincts, the core of who she really is, somehow remained untouched. He is essentially asking her subconscious to override a cosmic, reality-altering spell simply because she always knew his tells. It's a desperate, beautiful plea to the ghost of their connection. We used to know each other. We were together. He writes this visibly struggling to summarize a lifetime of trauma, joy, and profound connection into two incredibly inadequate sentences. I mean, how do you even explain to someone that you fought across dimensions together, that she fell from the Statue of Liberty and you caught her, that you held each other as the very sky ripped open? You can't. You just can't. So he just gives her the simplest, most heartbreaking summary of a massive cosmic sacrifice that entirely erased his existence from her mind. And then we arrive at this line. Sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart. I really want you to remember this phrase because this is the absolute thematic core of the entire opening scene. And honestly, I believe it's the defining thesis of Peter's new reality going forward. This is the ultimate distillation of power and responsibility. The man must be destroyed so the hero can function. He is fully acknowledging that to be the shield this city desperately needs, Peter Parker's personal happiness must be permanently, violently sacrificed on the altar of Spider-Man's duty. But as he writes, we go even deeper into his internal conflict. He admits to himself, maybe I'll never read this to you. Maybe I'm just writing this just for me. Maybe that's my responsibility, to live alone with the truth. This is where the true psychological burden reveals itself. He is realizing that handing her this letter might actually be selfish. It might pull her right back into the danger he just sacrificed everything to get her out of. He is actively contemplating the horrific reality that his ultimate act of heroism might simply be to swallow his grief, never say a single word, and carry the truth to his grave entirely alone. Yet he just can't fully let go. We hit the emotional peak of the letter right here. But the truth is, I love you. And I hope deep down something inside you remembers you love me too. Despite all the logic, despite the inherent danger, this desperate, lingering hope is the absolute only thing anchoring him to his past. It is the raw, bleeding heart of a teenager who just wants his girl back. It's the one selfish desire he allows himself to actually express on paper. But the moment passes, the fantasy fades away. Or maybe not. Maybe right now I just need to be Spider-Man. There is such profound, tragic resignation in his voice here.
We can perfectly picture him folding the letter up, putting it away in a drawer somewhere. He is actively surrendering his personal happiness, accepting his solitary, grueling duty. He is firmly choosing the mask over the man, because right now, the man has nothing left anyway. And as that final line of voiceover plays, we witness this truly breathtaking cinematic transition. We are inside his cramped apartment, the camera looking at him climbing a ladder, and then, seamlessly, visually, we are transported outside. The rungs of the ladder become the ledge of a towering New York skyscraper. And without a second of hesitation, he lets himself free fall into the glowing, unforgiving neon skyline of the city. It's a perfect visual metaphor. He is stepping out of the agonizing isolation of his room and plunging directly into the abyss of his duty. Which leaves us staring at the screen, asking this final, incredibly lingering question. We've just spent all this time unpacking the severe psychological burden, the physical toll, the isolation, and the heartbreaking sacrifices established in just the opening moments. So I leave you with this thought to chew on. How long can Peter Parker truly carry the weight of the world entirely alone before he simply shatters? It's a fascinating, deeply tragic setup that absolutely demands our attention as we prepare to see what unfolds next. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive. Let's keep analyzing, keep questioning, and keep watching.